Seljo, this is to let you know that two panelists have not joined yet, and that would be Father Paul and Professor Chandan.
Yeah, thank you. I'll let Sandhya ma'am know with that.
Siljo, do you have their number?
Yes, ma'am, I got it. So shall I call? Ma'am, shall we start the session or are we waiting for the others to join? Dr. Sandhya, can you please respond? Dr. Rathi, can you please confirm whether we are ready to start the session?
Shilo,
Yes, ma'am.
do you have the number of Dr. Tanu and Father Paul?
Yeah, I can get it. I have it, ma'am.
Yeah, so can you share so that we can call and ask, no?
Shall I share it with you?
Yeah, in mobile. Okay,
I will send it to you on WhatsApp.
yeah.
Siljo, Professor Tanu is here. If you could please test her mic and video. There's a problem with my Zoom. I'm logging back right in. Thank you.
Cool.
Hello?
No, ma'am. Hi, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, hello. I
Good
can't.
afternoon.
Good
Can you
afternoon.
just turn on your video as well so that we can check your video once?
Yes, certainly.
So it's my indeed pleasure to have you, ma'am. I'm an alumni of Amity University, so
Oh,
glad to
wow,
have
great.
you.
Wonderful. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Balachandran ji. Good afternoon. I can see other people.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
So nice to see you
Welcome.
all. Yes. So we are going to begin on time.
Yeah.
Yes. We are waiting for one more panelist, so we would be starting the session soon.
Okay, great. Looking forward.
Siljo? Siljo?
Yes, Dr. Rati, I was on a call with Dr. Sandhya, so she said she's
Yeah.
checking with him and we'll start once he joins
With
us.
that, okay. Can you check the PPT of Professor Tanu? Because we are not
Sure. So I haven't received the PPT version of Dr. Tanu. I have the PDF file. I will just share the PDF file. So, Professor Tanu, what would you prefer? Shall I share the PDF file or would you be sharing your PPT?
Either
Professor
way,
Tanu?
I can share from my side also, but if you could share PDF, that would be great.
It's in the PDF format, so that's the only problem. If it would have been in the PPT, so it would look good.
But I think it is looking absolutely fine.
Okay, if it's fine this way, then okay, ma'am, I will share it.
Yep. I will be moving my PPTs very fast, according to, I'll be
Hello,
just
yeah.
addressing
This
few
is
things.
just reminding you.
So I'll be moving them quite fast
Yeah.
and I'll be focusing on few
Yeah, 3
slides
of
only.
computers.
So I'll say next, right?
हाँ, ठीक है, ma'am. No problem.
Okay.
Siljo, in the interest of the participants, I believe we can keep following up with Dr. Paul, Father Paul, but I think we should start the session.
Dr. Paul is joining right now because he was just thinking that it was at 3:30. But anyway, he is joining right now.
Great, thank you. Ma'am, can we start in the meanwhile since our participants have already been waiting for 6 minutes? We would like to start now. Am I audible?
Yes, Valerie, you are.
Right. So, Siljo, I think it is best we start and I will keep tracking Father Paul to join in. Thank you.
So Dr. Sandhya says we should wait for the message from the minister. So she said, let's
Okay.
wait for 2 more minutes.
All right. A very warm good afternoon to all participants. We are extremely sorry for the 8-minute delay. Kindly allow us a minute or two more so that because we had somebody from the Health Ministry join in and the person is a little delayed. So we really hope you understand the reason for this delay. Just give us 2 or 3 minutes to get the person on board. And thank you very much again for your patience. Thanks. Dr. Rati and Dr. Sandhya, I would really recommend that we start now. We are 11 minutes over time, please.
Dr. Anthony is there. Father Paul is there. So, Siljo, please check the PPT.
Sure. So I will just make Father Paul the co-host.
Yeah. Thank you.
Father Paul, can you hear us? Father Paul, can you just unmute yourself and say hello so that we can test your mic? Father Paul, can you hear us? One second, I will help you unmute yourself.
I can hear you now. It's Father Paul this side.
Yes. Hi, Father. Do you want to check your video as well once?
I have shared a presentation. You could do that.
Yes. I will just share it for that you can check it once.
I'm so sorry to intervene, Siljo, but I believe we should start the session now and the testing can be done as we go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. I could see that. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Just give me 1 minute.
Siljo.
Dr. Sandhya just now called me. She said we need to wait for 1 more minute.
It's okay. I start with the welcome letters.
Yes, ma'am. That would be great, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Warm
I'll just give
greetings.
an introduction, ma'am, first. I'll
Yeah.
just give an introduction first, and then I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah.
That's fine, no?
Yeah.
Okay. So, first of all, sincere apologies to all for keeping you all waiting for the past few minutes. So, as you all know, we are here for an important webinar today on the occasion of International Nurses Day. This is being done in collaboration with the Nursing Division, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The topic for the day is strategic leadership, new lessons for nurse leaders during pandemic. If you talk about the date, 12th May 2021 is, as I already mentioned, it is to commemorate the birth of Florence Nightingale, who is thought to be the founder of modern nursing, and she was a British nurse during the Crimean War in the 1850s. She is popularly known as the Lady with the Lamp because she was often seen tending to wounded soldiers at night with a lamp in her hands. We would also be discussing about the strategic knowledge, which has been recognized as an important source, as an indispensable ingredient for the development of dynamic core competencies, and more generally as a determinant factor for organizations who have to manage disaster and emergencies effectively. I would like to welcome you all for this important webinar, which we have planned for the day. And I would like to welcome all our panelists who have joined us on time. To welcome you all the panelists briefly, I would like to hand it over to Dr. Rathi Balachandran, who will be taking us forward. Dr. Rathi.
Yes. Thank you, Sergio. Just 1 minute. Thank you, Sergio. Warm greetings from Nursing Division, Directorate of Health Services. It's my proud privilege to welcome all the participants to the webinar on strategic leadership, new lessons for nurses leaders during pandemic, organized by the Nursing Division in collaboration with the Sphere India COVID Academy. Government of India is very much committed to the welfare of nurses and really appreciate the contribution of nurses, exemplary services provided by nurses during the past 14 months, and also the contribution of nurses have been acknowledged at various levels. Various measures have also been taken by the government for empowering nurses and strengthening the nursing power, nursing education, nursing services, and is committed to develop more nursing institutions. And we really appreciate your contribution. Today we are having this program. We have the message from a minister, health minister, and Dr. Sunil Kumar, DGHS, agreed to be the chief guest for today's program. Because of some unexpected emergency, he could not join us now. So I'll ask Sergio to download the message of health minister and play it for the participants.
Ma'am, I haven't received the video of it. I've received the PDF file. So shall I share screen it and you can read it out?
Yeah, that will be okay.
Just give me 1 second.
International Nurses Day is celebrated around the world on every May 12th on birth anniversary of Florence Nightingale. In recognition of the outstanding contribution of nurses, as well as to honor them, Government of India has instituted National Florence Nightingale Awards, which are awarded on this memorable day. I'm happy to state that the number of awards have been increased from 35 to 51 since 2020. In view of the COVID-19 crisis, there has been a delay in presenting these awards, and it is hoped that the award ceremony would be held soon. International Council for Nurses commemorates this important day each year by choosing a relevant contextual theme. The theme for 2021 has been chosen as Nurses, a Voice to Lead, a Vision for Future of the Healthcare. WHO's designation of 2021 as an International Year of Health and Care is reflected in this theme. WHO had designated last year 2020 as International Year of Nurses and Midwives. Nurses, being the largest component of healthcare profession, provide care to people in all healthcare settings, working at the forefront. They have great potential and add immense value to the healthcare service delivery system. Their support is crucial to achieve universal healthcare and sustainable development goals. Therefore, they need to play an integral part in planning the future of healthcare. India has made significant strides in improving various health indicators. Higher proportion of nurses working at the grassroots level impacting these indicators are auxiliary nurse midwives. Recognizing this, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India has made enormous efforts to build their capacity alongside strengthening A&M schools and their faculty. Several other initiatives taken by Ministry in concern with the National Health Policy 2017 are strengthening nursing and midwifery education alongside the nurse practitioner and specialist nursing education. Placement of BSc nurses as community health officers in health and wellness centers and creation of cadre of nurse practitioner in midwifery and placement in established midwife-led care units are some of the significant initiatives by the Government of India. The global COVID-19 pandemic has shown the world the important role of nurses play in keeping people healthy across their lifespan. The pandemic has revealed many challenges in our healthcare service delivery system, and the nurses, while working under enormous pressure, have demonstrated incredible commitment and courage. The opportunity created during these extraordinary circumstances call for exploration of new model of care where nurses at the center of our health system. Strengthening of policies and leadership can pave the way to achieve this vision of future healthcare. While there has been significant disruption to healthcare, there have been significant innovations that have improved access to healthcare. In 2021, we need to focus on the changes and innovations in nursing and their likely impact on the future of healthcare. I take this opportunity on this important day to thank the nurses for their significant contributions and the meritorious services rendered towards healthcare. I salute the nurses fighting for COVID-19 courageously amidst losing lives and contracting infections. The country is proud of their intense dedication, devotion, as well as commendable, compassionate, selfless service to the people of our nation. Wishing you all the happy International Day, Nurses Day. This is the message from our Honorable Health Minister, Dr. Harshvardhan. So with this message, I welcome all the speakers to today's webinar. We have Dr. Sandhya Gupta, former Acting Principal and Associate Professor, College of Nursing, will be giving us the introduction of International Nurses Day and unfolding the theme of webinar. And Dr. Anthony Gyanamuthu, Operations Manager, Country Cluster Delegation for South Asia, Delhi, and International IFRC, will be presenting on need for strategic knowledge in emergency and disaster management. Dr. Anthony Gyanamuthu, we welcome you to this webinar.
So that we will have the introduction to International Nurses Day.
Yeah, okay. We can start with the first speaker, introduction of International Nurses Day by Dr. Sandhya Gupta. Welcome you, ma'am. Over to you.
Good afternoon to all. Kindly start my video.
Yeah, Dr. Sandhya, can you hear me?
Yeah, kindly start my video.
Sorry, ma'am.
Kindly start
Start.
my video.
1 second.
International Nurses Day video, please start.
Can you please confirm, is this the one?
No.
No, the International Nurses Day.
One second, ma'am. Please give me 1 second.
Not.
I got it. Yes, there we go. There is some technical difficulty.
Dr. Rafi, you can start with the messages. Please, by looking at
Is my screen visible
There
to
you go.
all? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, meantime, can we display the message of Dr. Vinod Paul, Niti Aayog?
1 second. Ma'am.
On International Nurses Day 2021, Dr. V.K. Paul has sent message for nurses. Dr. Vinod Kumar Paul is a pediatrician and member Niti Aayog. He is an authority on newborn care. He earlier served as professor of neonatology at Department of Pediatrics, AIIMS, New Delhi from 1985 to 2020. He is associated with India's health policy as well as child and maternal health programs. The newborn division at AIIMS headed by him has been a WHO collaborating center for training and research since 1997. In August 2017, he was appointed as member of Niti Aayog, where he is in charge of health and nutrition vertical. He has contributed towards formulating the Poshan Abhiyan and Ayushman Bharat Yojana. He served as chairman of the Board of Governors of the National Medical Council of India from 2018 to 2020. In the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Paul chairs the National Task Force on COVID-19 and the Empowered Group on Medical Emergency Management Plan. He also serves as chairman of the National Expert Group on Vaccine Administration for COVID-19. Dr. Paul has sent message for nurses, and I'm reading it. I deem it a pleasure on this auspicious day to wish all the nurses a happy Nurses Day, when world commemorates 12th May as International Nurses Day on the birthday of Florence Nightingale, who provided selfless care to sick and wounded. During her tenure of service, her analytical mind felt the need to establish a formal education for the nurses, and she thus became the founder of modern nursing. I acknowledge and appreciate the strong commitment, compassion, and care nurses display in the practice of their profession. The role nurses play in delivering the highest level of quality care to the healthcare delivery system across our country and often in difficult circumstances is commendable. During pandemic, the exemplary services provided by nurses who played a pivotal role in providing basic health services at grassroots levels need to be applauded by one and all. Nurses are both the front lines of healthcare as well as the backbone of healthcare delivery. Today, we see nurses as innovators in healthcare who are competent and committed in their service. Globally, it is an undeniable fact that it is only the nurses who are always accessible even when doctors are not available. These professionals provide healthcare at doorstep in some of the most inaccessible parts of the world, as also in our country. I sincerely wish our nurses are empowered to be champions in the delivery of healthcare and contribute to building a strong human capital in this country. Nurses bear the true spirit of humanity. Happy Nurses Day 2021 to all the beautiful souls. Thank you, Dr. Vinod Paul.
Now, Sindhu, can you get the message from Chief of Red Cross, Indian Red Cross?
Sure, ma'am. I'm on it. There we go.
We have message for International Nurses Day from Mr. R.K. Jain, IAS, Secretary General of Indian Red Cross Society. Indian Red Cross Society is a statutory, voluntary and autonomous humanitarian organization with a network of more than 1100 branches across the country. It is part of International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement and so shares the fundamental principles of the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement. The society's mission is providing relief in times of disasters, emergencies, and promoting health and care of vulnerable people and communities. The society uses the Red Cross as an emblem in common with other international Red Cross societies. Volunteering has been at the very heart of the Indian Red Cross Society since its inception in 1920. I am reading the message from Secretary General now. With the motto of service without any distinction of caste, creed, race, or color, nursing is rated as one of the noblest professions in the world. Nurses are those who give their support to people who are suffering from any disease or age-related problems, whether they work in community or hospitals. The profession you have chosen is very remarkable. For your distinguished services, you are felicitated on the birthday of Florence Nightingale on 12th May each year. As the country braves a deadly pandemic, we need to salute your perseverance and commitment for continued services. Maya Angelou wrote, "As a nurse, we have the opportunity to heal the heart, mind, soul, and body of our patients, their families, and ourselves. They may forget your name, but they will never forget how you made them feel." Happy Nurses Day 2021 to all the beautiful souls. Thank you so much for bringing hope into life of those feeling hopeless and giving nursing care to sick with your love and care. While congratulating you on the occasion, I also appeal to nursing fraternity to provide positive vibes, encouragement, psychosocial support, and care with concern to those battling corona in the country. RK Jain. So, thank you very much. Happy International Nurses Day from Indian Red Cross Society, a non-profit organization where the motto is through humanity to peace.
Dr. Rathi, you can
Yeah.
take forward.
Yeah. Now, can the madam's video be downloaded or displayed?
Sure, I'll do that.
Participants also to the program. In between, there was interruption.
Yes, ma'am. So I would like to just introduce the speaker for the day. Today we have been joined by an extreme set of panelists, starting from Dr. Anthony Nanamuthu, who is the Operations Manager, Country Cluster Delegation for South Asia, Delhi, IFRC. 1 second, I forgot to turn my video on. Doesn't matter much, but still. Dr. Anthony Nanamuthu has master's degree in cooperative management and a PhD in public management from Germany, having extensive experience working in Asia, Africa, and Europe in the field of disaster management, food security, climate change adaptation, and disaster risk reduction. Dr. Anthony has been a member of National Expert Appraisal Committee in the Ministry of Environment and Forest, GOI. He trained several senior government officials on disaster management through NITM. Currently, he's working with IFRC South Asia delegation as operations manager. Moving on, we have Dr. P. Anthony Raj, who is a principal from Loyola College of Education, Jamshedpur, Jharkhand. Dr. Anthony, priest and currently the principal of Loyola College of Education, Jamshedpur. He has done MCOM, MAd, MSc, and PhD in education psychology with the title Emotional Intelligence from the Perspective of Neurosciences. He was founder, principal of Loyola College, Bhubaneswar, two other schools in rural Odisha. He works as a teacher educator besides being program coordinator of IGNOU Study Center. He has been the peer team member of NAC and ICSE Schools Board Inspector of Center. He has published 18 research papers, textbooks for primary schools, and conducted 84 seminars. So next we have Father Paul Verghese Munjeli, who is the Executive Director of Caritas India. Father Paul is an MA in Medical and Psychiatric Social Work and also an MBA. He is now a PhD scholar, Health Policy Advocacy. He has over 23 years of experience in social sector, strategic planner with strong interpersonal communication, problem solving, and decision making skills. His core areas of competence is NGO management, financial management, and scientific organizational development, rural energy entrepreneurship, and program formulation. He has been serving as an executive director for various institutions. He is expert in human resource planning, team effectiveness, and leadership development, consulting to all levels of an organization. He is well known for designing and implementing strategic plans, research programs. Currently, he is also the country coordination member, CCM member, Global Fund with Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, GOI, and he's also a member in the Health Task Force at Caritas International. Next up, we have Professor Anu Jindal, who is the Pro Vice Chancellor of Amity University, Noida. Professor Tanu, a PhD with 25 years of experience in environmental science, technology, and management. Currently, she is serving as a Group Pro Vice Chancellor, R&D, and founding director of 5 of the Amity Environmental Institute for Academic and Research. She has launched PhD, MSc, and BSc Environmental Science programs. She is fellow of National Environmental Science Academy and has also been conferred upon Environmental and Scientist of the Year award. She is also the editor of awards of MDRES. She has expertise in ISO 17025, GLP studies, radio and stable isotope tracer techniques, heavy metal, pesticides, POPs, PM 2.5, PM 10, VOC studies, etc. And we are also joined by Professor Vinod Chandra Menon, who is the founder member of NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority. Professor Vinod has a vast experience of 36 years in public administration, of which more than 25 years have been spent in specializing in the DRR, climate change adaptation and public policy analysis. He is one of the founder member of the NDMA with the status of Union Minister of State in the Government of India from 2005 to 2010. He has been associated with the emergency response team in several mega disasters in India and in several countries around the world. He is a member of the peer committee established by the Indian National Academy of Engineering on technological preparedness for dealing with national disruptions. Professor Menon is advisor and the governing body of several institutions and networks. Now we have the organizer for the day, who is Dr. Rathi Balachandran, ADG Nursing, Nursing Division, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, New Delhi. Dr. Rathi has vast experience of 22 years as nursing faculty, mentoring, guiding, and developing midwifery competencies and public health competencies in nursing students, and has 6 years experience at the headquarters as the technical officer lead of nursing and midwifery program planning, implementation and management. She has been honored to act as member of several expert groups for International Council of Nurses Health Policy Subgroups, Global Nursing Leadership Institute 2018 Policy Program, International Council of Nurses Alumni. She has also represented in technical consultations on midwifery education and research 2018 at Geneva. She was part of Indian delegation of FORCE Singapore Cooperation Program Training Award on Nursing Pedagogy in Jordan. Now we have the moderator for the day, who is Dr. Sandhya Gupta, formerly acting principal and associate professor of College of Nursing, AIIMS, New Delhi. Dr. Sandhya Gupta has over 41 years of working experience in field of mental health. Dr. Sandhya has also worked as Secretary Indian Nursing Council. She is a recipient of President's Gold Medal as well as national and international awards. She has the honor of being a member of Expert Advisor Committee for National Mental Health Program, Mental Health Bill on Old Age Homes, Care of Elderly, Health Informatics of Bureau of Indian Standards, INC, University of Delhi, and Indian Society of Psychiatric Nursing. She is also a member of expert group of National Nursing and Midwifery Commission. She has over 132 publications in scientific journals. She has also represented India in various forums in India and abroad. So this was the basic introduction of all our panelists, for all our speakers for the day. We would be now getting back to our agenda, which is actually the introduction of International Nurses Day and unfolding of theme of webinar. For this, we have Dr. Sandhya Gupta, former acting principal and associate professor, College of Nursing, AIIMS. She has, to save up the time, she has prepared a video of a PPT. I will be presenting that PPT. Just give me 1 second. So this is a PPT prepared by Dr. Sandhya.
Greetings to all. Today I will take you to the journey of Florence Nightingale's life. She was born on 12th May 1820, and she was known as founder of modern nursing. She was born in Florence, Italy, to a British family. Her mother, Frances, hailed from a family of merchants and took pride in socializing with people of prominent social standing. Florence's father was William Shore Nightingale, a wealthy landowner. When Florence was 5-year-old at Lea Hurst, where her father provided her with a classical education, including studies in chemistry, mathematics, statistics, German, French, and Italian. From a very young age, Florence Nightingale was active in philanthropy, ministering to ill and poor people in village neighboring her family estate. By the time she was 16-year-old, it was clear to her that nursing was her calling. She believed it to be her divine purpose. She was determined to pursue nursing despite her parents' objection. She met Elizabeth Blackwell, who was the first female doctor who was trained in USA. Blackwell was the first woman to work in London, female doctor. She encouraged her to keep trying because she herself faced a lot of prejudice when she wanted to become a doctor. In 1851, the Florence father gave her permission to train as a nurse because Nightingale was of opinion that it is more important to have trained nurses than having many women doctors. This picture shows that she goes to the barracks and goes with a lamp in the hand, therefore known as Lady with a Lamp. In 1850s, Nightingale returned to London where she took nursing job in Middlesex Hospital and very quickly promoted as superintendent. She grappled with cholera outbreak and unsanitary conditions conducive to rapid spread of disease. Nightingale made it her mission to improve hygiene practices, significantly lowering the death rate at hospital in process. In October 1853, the Crimean War broke out and many soldiers were admitted into military hospitals. At that time, there were no female nurses stationed at hospitals in Crimea. In England, there was uproar about neglect of their ill and injured soldiers who not only lacked medical attention and horribly understaffed but also languished in appalling unsanitary and inhumane conditions. Florence assembled a team of 34 nurses and sailed with them to Crimea just a few days later, although they were warned that the conditions were very bad there. Patients lay on their own excrements on stretchers strewn throughout the hallway. Rodents and bugs scurried past them. The most basic supplies, such as bandages and soap, grew increasingly scarce as the number of ill and wounded steadily increased. Even water needed to be rationed. More soldiers were dying from infectious disease like typhoid and cholera than from injuries incurred in battle. No nonsense Nightingale quickly set to work. She procured hundreds of scrub brushes and asked the least infirm patient to scrub the inside of the hospital from floor to ceiling. She herself spent waking minute caring for soldiers. In evening, she moved through the dark hallways carrying a lamp, ministering to her patients. So soldiers were really moved with her endless compassion. They started calling her Lady with the Lamp or Angel of Crimea. Her work reduced the hospital death rate by 2/3. In addition to vastly improved sanitary conditions of hospital, she created patient services that contributed to improving quality of hospital stay. She created an invalids kitchen where appealing food for patients with special dietary requirement was cooked. She also established a laundry so that patients would have clean linen. She also has instituted a classroom and a library for patients' intellectual stimulation and entertainment. Based on her observations, she wrote notes on matters affecting health efficiency, hospital administration of British Army, analyzing her experience and proposing reforms for other military hospitals operating under poor conditions. To spread her opinion on reform, she published 2 books, Notes on Hospital and Notes on Nursing. Nightingale was able to raise funds to improve quality of nursing. In 1860, she used the money to found Home for Nurses at St. Thomas Hospital. She also opened a school of nursing in her hospital. She left Scutari in summer of 1856. Once the Crimean conflict was resolved, she returned to her childhood home, Lea Hurst. She was surprised that they gave her hero's welcome. The Queen rewarded Nightingale's work by presenting her with engraved brooch that came to be known as Nightingale Jewel, by granting her prize of £250,000 from British government. And she dedicated that money to St. Thomas Hospital, where the Nightingale Nursing School was also running. She earned much public admiration. In her later life, she was residing in Mayfair. Still, she remained authority and advocate of healthcare reform. In 1859, she published Notes on Hospital, which focused on how to properly run civilian hospitals. Throughout the Civil War, she was frequently consulted about how to best manage field hospitals. She also served authority on public sanitation issues in India for both military and civilian, although she had never visited India herself. She was honored with Merit of Honor by King Edward in 1907 and 1908. She was awarded Freedom of City of London in 1908. She had already received German Order of Cross of Merit and French Gold Medal. In 1910, she was presented with Badge of Honor, Norwegian Red Cross Society. Picture was put on British £10 currency note to acknowledge her contribution to society. Poems and songs and plays were written and dedicated in her honor. Thanks to Nightingale, nursing was no longer frowned upon by upper class. It had in fact come to be viewed as honorable vocation. Young women aspired to be like her. International Council of Nurses commemorates 12th May every year with production of distribution of educational and public information material for use of nurses everywhere with new theme. Nurses are both front line of healthcare as well as backbone of healthcare delivery. Today we see nurses as innovators in healthcare who are competent and committed in their services. Nurses also have fundamental role in providing equitable health services encompassing a continuum of care that are people and family centered, evidence based and continuously improving in quality. This is her later life. When she was 90-year-old in 1910, she was on sick bed. Even though she was on sick bed, she continued to help people in managing health services. On August 13th, unexpectedly, as she left this world. Characteristically, she expressed the desire that her funeral be a quite modest affair, despite the public desire to honor Nightingale, who tirelessly devoted her life to preventing disease and ensuring safe and compassionate treatment for poor and suffering. Respecting her last wishes, her relatives turned down a national funeral. A lady with a lamp was laid to rest in her family's plot at St. Margaret Church at East Wellow in Hampshire, London. Long live legacy of Florence Nightingale. Now, recently, a British newspaper gave an advertisement that the retired people have to be called for servicing during pandemic. Yuvan Moore, chair of Florence Nightingale Foundation and British former National Chief Officer, said, if Florence Nightingale herself was here, she would be supporting all that is being said at the moment. She was absolutely into infection control, hand washing, being very observant. She would also, bearing in mind her very, very long career, be encouraging people that have retired to think about the role that they might be able to play in coming back during pandemic. Happy Nurses Day 2021. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sandhya, for that wonderful presentation. Do you want to conclude this?
I'd like to now request the session to start on strategic management of leadership style during disaster. So I request Dr. Anthony Gananmuthu, Operational Manager, Country Cluster Delegation for Asia, Delhi as an IFRC. I welcome Dr. Anthony. He will be speaking on need for strategic knowledge in emergency and disaster management.
Dr. Anthony, we welcome you to take this session. I will just share your PPT once. I hope I have shared the right PPT and it's visible.
Sure.
Thank you, sir. You can take it forward.
Thank you. Namaskar. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the audience who are sitting in different continents and virtually listening to this. I am Dr. Anthony Nyanamuthu, Operations Manager, International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent, South Asia Delegation, New Delhi. I wish all of you a happy International Nursing Day. The views expressed in this are my personal views, and my topic given is need for strategic knowledge in emergency and disaster management. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Hello, can you go to the next slide? Leo? Yeah. I have divided my topic into two parts. The first part of 6 slides talks in general of statistic knowledge and its management, implication of pandemic past and present, global strategic framework on healthcare. The second part of the 6 slides talks on healthcare professional and their knowledge management. Yes. Next slide. Why is strategic knowledge? Innovation, creativity, teamwork, motivation, success. In short, strategic knowledge means formulating logical sequence in goal and action, and about getting right knowledge to the right person at the right time. Next slide, please. What is knowledge management? Management capabilities enabling an organization to combine knowledge on market and product. With change adaptation, knowledge to gain sustainable competitive advantage. Refers to integrated system of accumulation, integration, manipulation, and access of data across multiple organizations. Next slide, please. Next slide. Need for strategic knowledge. Psychological and physical well-being of the frontline workers is quite important, especially for nurses. Professional conduct, ethical and safeguarding issues, enhancing preparedness towards disasters and its preparedness. Next slide, please. Knowledge that supports. You need to be quick in decision making. You have to have expertise in coordination and practice, command and control structure, learning and knowledge transfer. It's very important that the knowledge supports so that they will be able to impact on the field to save lives. Next slide, please. Impact of pandemics. Pandemic, the definition is disease or virus that spreads across a broad geographical area and can spread worldwide. Once I heard in TED Talk about a history professor was talking about history and disaster. He said there were different civilizations of the past. There was Mesopotamian civilization, Egyptian civilization, Chinese civilization, Mayan civilization, etc. All these civilizations collapsed. There was no external enemy. Probably that could be pandemic. That's what the history process says. However, their disaster preparedness to pandemic were inadequate, and those civilizations collapsed all of a sudden in most cases. Thanks to the present day public health management, where HIV, AIDS, Ebola, and malaria are mostly brought under control. So we come to the next slide. No, previous slide. Strategic framework, please. Previous slide. Strategic framework. No, you have gone too far. Strategic framework. Yeah. Next. Yeah, this one. No, next, please. Next. Yeah, stay. So we have global frameworks, Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction, which talks about which talks about epidemic and pandemic are integral part of disaster risk management. We also see in sustainable, particularly in 3, we see that we must achieve universal health coverage and access to quality health and no one being left out. The DM Act and DM Plan of India deals with various disasters, including biological disaster and health emergency. Paris Climate Agreement is the health agreement. Climate change, the century's biggest threat to human health. So now we come to the second part of the slides, role of healthcare professionals. Healthcare professionals have to think fast, process an array, diagnose, test results, medication, ask treatment responses to make decisions. Usually in a heart surgery, open heart surgery, we see that to make a difference, if there's a proper knowledge and procedures on practice, we see that the success rate is very high. So it is very important to retain those knowledges. Next. Knowledge mobilization and exchange. Knowledge sharing between research producers and research users. Sharing of documents and images among the healthcare enterprises, regardless of sources, location, or format, in support of improved patient care. Serve as data respiratory and researchable registry of clinical documents. Organizational knowledge. Organizational knowledge management is not only increasing the performance of individual within the organization, but the organization as a whole itself. Organizational policies and strategic framework. Team functioning and relations. Need for new knowledge. This is very important area. The nurses should be trained on psychological and well-being. Physical and mental health training should be provided. Nurses should be taught on disaster plan. And disaster communication is very important. Ethical issues is fundamental for nurses. Disaster drills will help to strengthen their preparedness to respond competently to disaster cases.
Dr. Anthony, your screen is not visible. Sorry.
Hi, this is Valerie. That would be because Siljo's computer just switched off for some reason.
international.
And I am going to try and get that presentation started as soon. But for then, Dr. Anthony, you could continue in the meanwhile.
Yeah. Learning and teaching methods should be used to enhance nurses' learning and improve their self-confidence and self-efficacy in disaster preparedness. Technology, application, and practical knowledge. Technology plays a greater role. The systems, tools, and technologies, mobile applications, many of the new informations can be learned, and one needs to keep on updating their knowledge as a lot of informations and technological things are day by day coming up, and one needs to update. Saluting nurses as frontline soldiers. Thank you for your attention. Looking forward to the feedback and questions. Actually,
I'm extremely sorry
from the organizers. I think we missed to see it.
Yeah, I'm extremely sorry, Dr. Anthony. I just joined back. There was a technical problem at my end.
Okay.
I hope your PPT was shown there. So next up, we have Dr. P. Anthony. Dr. P. Anthony is the principal of Loyola College of Education, Jamshedpur, Jharkhand. Dr. Anthony would be taking us through the strategic leadership styles, SLS. Over to you, Dr. Anthony.
Yes.
To share the
slide, please.
Right, sir, I am on it.
Good afternoon. Namaste. It's wonderful to all the organizing committee, the coordinating committee, and the SPEAR India. and the stakeholders, the nurses, and all those who are watching on the screen of this talk. I'm indeed grateful to the organizing committee to invite me to present a topic on strategic leadership and new lessons for nurse leaders during the pandemic. I salute all the nurses as they celebrate the birth anniversary of great personality Florence Nightingale, a lady with the lamb. Now today we are going through a pandemic. I would just give you outline, the next slide please. I would give the slight outline of the talk. Next slide. Let me go step by step on this topic. I just contextualize the topic and define the concepts and give a true perspective and conclude the topic. So first of all, to contextualize, I would say the world has gone and seen pandemics. Next slide, please. The world has gone through, next slide. The world has gone through different pandemics. There are deadly pandemics that shook the world and killed millions of people time and again over in the history. For example, I would say the Black Death, which took away 200 million .
So you're gone mute. P. Anthony, you're gone mute.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Am I audible now?
Yes,
Am I audible?
Yes, please continue.
Okay. So the different pandemics have taken away a number of people, millions of people from us. So the world has witnessed a tremendous amount of this pandemic, outbursts of pandemics, and due to which the world, the thinking has changed. Our perspective has changed, and our every lifestyle has changed. To give an example, to contextualize my topic, strategic leadership style, I would say the Black Death, the pandemic which has occurred long ago, 531 CE, that has taken away 200 million people. And then we come to the plague of Justin, and we have got smallpox. Then we have got the Spanish flu. Next slide, please. Keep moving. Spanish flu. Then we have the HIV/AIDS. And today we are faced with again. Next slide, please. Keep moving. We are faced with the first wave, and the second wave is shaking the world. And India, it's an unprecedented crisis. And we have lost several thousands people, lakhs of people, crores of people are dying. And today our hospitals are filled with patients, corona patients. We are running short of oxygen. We are running short of ventilators. We don't have beds. We don't have sufficient infrastructure, healthcare facility. So many people are falling victim to this coronavirus pandemic. So in this context, the topic that we have chosen, the organizer have chosen, is very fitting and appropriate. So let me go into the topic proper. Strategic leadership style. Keep moving as I speak, sir. A strategic leadership style. Next slide. The strategic leadership style, next one. Go to the topic. Next one. We have got this strategic leadership style. The strategy is a word. A strategy is a word that is originally coming from Greek. And the word says it is the strategy, the plan, or a template, or a small blueprint the commander-in-chief in the army or in the military context, the person in chief having that plan in hand, and he vision it, and he dream about it, and he have a sketch of the plan in order to solve the crisis that is in front of him. And not only he is in pursuit of solving the crisis, but he is also inspiring the leaders to follow the plan, strategy. The second word that we need to understand is the leadership. The leadership is not to be understood as the way we understand. The leadership is to be understood in the way Florence Nightingale has understood. She, our icon, a model, she has understood leadership style in a servant model, a model that would serve the people. Leadership is not given to a particular person for authority or power, but leadership is given to a person to serve the society, to serve the nation, to serve the humanity. So that is the concept that Florence Nightingale has understood. So we need to understand the leadership concept first. So it's a servant leadership, not a what you call ruling leadership. The third concept we need to understand is that style. What is the style with which we go? The style means the way of behavior, the way we behave, or the style is the way we do things. Now here, the way we do things will define our behavior. The way we do things will define our personality. So the strategic leadership style is a style by which we go about healing the people, serving the people with a servant leadership style with a blueprint in hand. So strategic leadership style is one that was adopted by Florence Nightingale. And today, you nurses, we have to salute you. We have to honor you. We have to glorify you. We have to hold you high because you are the person who are in the frontline leaders who are risking your life, who are exposing yourself to this virus, and in spite of risking yourself and sacrificing yourself, your concern is focused on the welfare of the human being. So you are the one, you are in the place of God today. The patients look at you that you will bring life to them back, the normal life to them back. So we need to be proud of ourselves. We need to be happy about ourselves because this is not your profession. Many would define it in a secular term. It is called a profession, but I would define it, in my opinion, this is a mission. You are on a mission mode. You are on a call. It's a call, it's a special call given by God. It's a mission mode. You are into the mission of saving people, the mission of rescuing people from the crisis. So please take it, the concept of mission in your mind, then everything falls apart because you are selflessly 24/7 you are serving. My dear friends, this is a very, very appropriate topic today that we are dealing with, strategic leadership style that would be fitting to the nurses, because I have seen the hospital. I used to visit the hospital nearby, and whenever I go and I get admitted and come back, when I get discharged, the sister used to tell me, we don't want to see you again. I don't like to see you again. We don't like to see you again. Many a time when we visit a family, when we visit our friends, what we like to hear? We like to hear, come again. I would like to see you again. Come again. The family members will say me that come again, Father, please visit us again. But here in the hospital, they are saying, don't visit us again. Don't come again. Then I was wondering, what do they mean by that? They are not so welcoming. They are not so cordial. They are not very hospitable. I was thinking, and I asked the sister, why do you say don't come again? No, Father, this is not the place to visit hospital. This is not the place. You have to be healthy and happy. without having any sickness. You have to be fit and fine in the world to serve the people. So that struck me. Today, people want the health and happiness in their lives. And you nurses, that you are the torch bearers. You are the Messiah. You are the savior of the human race. So try to be very proud of yourselves serving the people. Now, the third point is I would like to take the two perspectives I would like to give to this topic. The number one perspective is the perspective of Nightingale. Nightingale, though she was born in a family in Italy in 1820, and 1820 she was born, then she moved into London, England, and then she was taking care of, she was missioned to take care of the, next slide, she was missioned to take care of the Crimean soldiers who are wounded and laid bare with the wounds and nobody to look after, and she was commanded to take over the charge of that hospital and the campus. And she was doing round-the-clock service 24/7, night and day, with a little lamb in the hand and nursing back the soldier to life. The wonderful deed she has done today. And she's the model and icon because we imitate her because of her sacrifice. Another example I would give is the little small lady, a tiny lady of Calcutta, Saint Mother Teresa. Saint Mother Teresa goes into the street. She belongs to a rich convent, the Loreto group, where they run a very premier institution in the country. And she disowns everything. Whatever she had, luxury, whatever comfort she had, she disowns and goes into the street and see the destitute, see the abandoned children, the unwanted children thrown in the dustbin, bring them and put them in the house and give them dignity and honor to the patients. That is the model that we are going to follow. So nurses, that you are the one who are the frontline soldiers, warriors. So we need to adapt that model. We need to adapt that perspective of Nightingale and Mother Teresa. And the second perspective is a perspective of Dr. Daniel Goleman. Go back to the slide, please. Go further slides. Go ahead. Daniel Goleman. Go ahead. Move. Move. Dr. Daniel Goleman, he is a doctor, a US psychologist, and he has given a leadership style. What is a leadership style? Leadership is not a domination. It is an art of persuading people to work toward a common goal. He has propounded the theory of emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is a person has to be emotionally intelligent and intelligently emotional. A person has emotionally intelligent leader has to be emotionally intelligent and intelligently emotional. For example, the doctors, the nurses, you should not get involved with the patient emotionally. If you do emotionally involved in that person, you will not be able to treat the person because your mind will not work. There you are pulled back. Though you feel for the person, you feel with the person, but at the same time, you are using your intelligence to get back the person on his feet, on her feet. So you have to use your intelligence. So bringing intelligence into emotions is emotional intelligence. A beautiful concept that he has given. So we leaders have to be emotionally intelligent leaders. We have to be compassionate. We have to be empathetic. But we need to use our intelligence to bring back the health of the person. Next slide, please. So this person has given the next slide. This person has given the dimension of emotional intelligent leadership. What is emotional? That is two sides of the same coin. In one side of the coin, he puts it as a self-awareness and self-management. On the other side, he puts as a social awareness and relationship management. Now, self-awareness is that I need to know myself. That's what Socrates in 300 BCE has said, that know thyself. If you know only thyself, you will be able to know others. So the only knowledge I possess is the knowledge of myself. That's what Socrates said in Greece. So I need to understand my knowledge. I need to understand my strengths and weaknesses. And if only I know my strengths and weaknesses, I'll be able to handle myself. So that's one side, one part of it. The other part of it is that I know the other persons who has got the same strength and weaknesses or different strength and weaknesses, unique personality, and I understand that person and accept that person and be able to relate myself with that person. This is a relational management. This is a very, very, very important in our lives, because even as a family man, a family woman, I need to understand my family members with emotional intelligence leadership style. So finally, my dear friends, the next slide, please. Finally, I would leave you with three thoughts as a conclusion. We need to stay focused, stay tuned, number one. Stay tuned like Florence Nightingale. Stay tuned like Mother Teresa. Stay tuned like Daniel Goleman, who has shown the path to the world that we can win over this war. We can win over this battle. As a strategic leader, like Nelson Mandela, like our Mahatma Gandhi, they are all strategic leaders. So these leaders, what they had the dream. The dream is that you need to see a better world. You need to see a better humanity. So stay tuned, and you are the leader like Florence Nightingale. Write a leadership legacy of yourself. Write a leadership legacy. Write your diary, your own diary, how you are served, how you are going to understand yourself in this pandemic, in this crisis. The second takeaway is stay motivated. Please, this is a time that we get panicky. This is a time we get frightened. This is the time we get fear. This is the time that we all sort of remorse feeling coming into ourselves. But when I see the other person smile in the face, the angelic smile in the face, I get satisfied. I get satisfied. There's a small video where the madam is working as a nurse, and she's not going for days to home, and the family members are calling her over the phone and asking her how she is. She is telling, "Beta, you are all doing very well. You are all doing well at home. I am worried about you, but please allow me to serve my people in the hospital. Please allow me." Then the family members are saying, Mommy, do not worry about us. We can take care of yourself. But be there, duty first. So stay motivated, Mommy. The children are telling the nurse, motivating the nurse. So stay motivated like Daniel Goleman. My leadership is one of serving leadership. My leadership is one of making some contribution in the life of others. My leadership is making difference in the life of others. The last one is stay focused. Please, 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 tomorrow is a better day. Tomorrow is a better day than today. Tomorrow is going to, we can see the light, we can see the sunrise, we can see the beauty of the world. If only I invest my time today and energy today. So stay focused in the future. The future is beckoning on us, and the future is going to be a very good future for all of us and the whole humanity. So next slide. So finally, these three takeaways, please, I would like to offer you. And thank you very much. And thank you for your patient listening. And I'm thankful to all the organizing team for inviting me to share my small thought. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now I request Father Paul Burgess to kindly take over the next lecture. He is going to talk about transformational leadership style, transactional leadership style. Father Paul, Executive Director of Caritas India. I welcome you, Father.
Thank you, Dr. Sandhya Gupta. Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Good evening, my dear friends. At the beginning, let me salute our nursing friends on this International Day of the Nurses Community. I am Father Paul. I'm the Executive Director for Caritas India. Caritas India is the humanitarian organization of the Catholic Church in the country. And Catholic Church have 3,500 medical institutions, both small and big. I was wondering why I'm here today to address you. Maybe because I myself was the chief functionary of a medical facility with 1,000-bed hospital, medical institutions for the MSc, BSc, nursing and nursing school, the paramedical courses and pharmacy college, pretty much connected to the medical fraternity, and at the moment working for Caritas India, also very much associated with the medical community. Friends, I have just 10 slides. I don't want to keep you long. The topic given to me is transactional versus transformational leadership. And I won't certainly buy the idea of transactional leadership, because today we cannot form leaders or influence somebody with compulsions, dominations, with kind of systems that humiliate people, and with violent communication. That is not at all a saleable idea today. But on the contrary, certainly the leadership has to be something, a servant model leadership, as the previous speaker was trying to tell us. A servant model leadership, a paradigm that has been well said and propagated by none other than Pope Francis himself in the contemporary times. My dear friends, I was just going through the participants list and I happened to see a message from somebody from Rwanda, and that compels me to start this conversation with a small story. The story goes that an American anthropologist proposed a game to African tribal children. He placed a basket of sweets near a tree and then had them stand a few hundred feet away. Whoever reached the basket first would get all the sweets. When he said, "Ready, steady, go," do you know what these small children did? They all held each other's hands and ran towards the tree together, divided the sweets, and enjoyed them equally. When the anthropologist asked them, "Why did you do so?" they said, "Ubuntu." Ubuntu is the story, which for them meant, how can one be happy when all others are sad and in pain? My dear friends, the meaning of Ubuntu is that I am because you are. A person is a person through other people, which means there is a lot of interconnectedness, mutuality, reciprocity. And I would feel that in simple terms, in a layman's language, transformational leadership is nothing but Ubuntu. I am because what we are. Friends, it is the capacity to express compassion, reciprocity, dignity, harmony, and humanity in the interest of building and sustaining community with dignity and mutual caring. What a beautiful message of Ubuntu on this wonderful day of International Nurses Day, paying tribute to Florence Nightingale, the iconic lady, the lady with lampstand, giving light to the nations and motivating the communities for care and share. And how beautifully connected this story to the message of the day, transformational leadership. I would like to put across to all of us for our consumption that we are all leaders. And the proverbial statement tells us that leaders are made, not born. Taking this premise to our context, I would start with a simple premise that as nurses, we are professionals. We don't deny that fact that we are professionals. And we are part of a very big profession. And what is it that makes a profession? What is the definition of a profession? I don't want to complicate things. I'm not going to share any theoretical definitions, but just a layman's definition. A professional is someone with knowledge plus skill plus attitude. Florence Nightingale would tell us what cruel mistakes are sometimes made by benevolent men and women in matter of business about which they know nothing and they think they know a great deal. Friends, knowledge, something very fundamental today. We should know what we are doing. There should be a very good fair amount of knowledge of the practice of the nursing ministry that we are engaged. And there is a famous saying that half doctor will kill the patient. Friends, I don't want to detail about the importance of knowledge and knowledge management and knowledge solutions. And we know that this knowledge is something very dynamic today. It's not static, which means that every day we need to go through a kind of continuous medical education, which is very much part of our game. And how many of us refurbish ourselves with the current contemporary knowledge? And how many of us are abreast with the new pandemic, COVID-19? We are lost somewhere, aren't we? Which means that we need to have sound, sober knowledge of the problem that we are dealing with. Moving on, the second important element of a profession, skill sets, soft skills, communication skills, skills to problem solving in a creative way, empathy, teamwork. I don't want to detail that because all of us know we are professionals. And the third very important element, attitude. And what is the attitude? It's the disposition that helps us to put completely into what we are doing, into our profession of nursing care. And I would conclude saying that attitude is everything. Knowledge plus skill plus attitude, and the attitude makes us everything. Let's move on to the second slide. And if you have the real kind of attitude, that helps us to really harbor, to stay with, to tune ourselves with the right vision, right goal. Every profession has a vision, and vision is embedded with value and value of life. All of us know pretty much about the values of nursing care. We have studied that. Values like altruism, dignity, care, human relationship, competency. And these values are really making us to contribute to the visionary vision building that we are dealing with. And I would also like to share this value, saying that, this vision has to be a shared vision. All of us are working with a system, maybe in a medical institution. Each institution will have a kind of vision. Are we sharing that common vision? And most of the time, let me tell you, this is something which is inspired by our faith. You may be a Christian, you may be a Muslim, you may be a Hindu, but that doesn't matter. We are all inspired by the faith which we practice. And that's beautifully seen in the scriptures that is being shared with us. In the Holy Bible, we see Jesus telling, I have come that they may have life in abundance. I strongly feel that a person who is engaged in a medical mission, a nurse, is imparting this fullness of life. When we are confronting with a person, we are dialoguing with a person. And in the Vedic traditions, we have this beautiful mantra, Loga Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, that everyone be happy. That is the vision that we share. And the Quran will tell us that every act of nursing, caring, is something which is being wished by Allah himself. My dear friends, that we may belong to any faith, but every faith inspires us for this action. And that is the shared vision. And we see the beautiful parable of the mustard seed, which is being used by Florence Nightingale herself. Maybe she was inspired by the parable of a mustard seed told by Jesus. A small seed, the smallest of the seed in the world, but see how it grooms, how it really expands a huge tree, and which brings a kind of shade for so many thousands and millions. I would say that each of us are a mustard seed. And we make this shadow for so many who are interested to our care. And I would say that we may be doing small things, but certainly the divine is pleased with the small things. And that may be the reason why Arundhati Roy wrote this beautiful book, The God of Small Things. Small things makes our life beautiful, which means to say that every nursing care, every care for a patient, it has to be looked into small things. And these small things give such a lot of hope for the people. And that's what Napoleon Bonaparte said. A leader is a dealer in hope. A leader is a dealer in hope. Let's move on. This next slide, third slide, please, is again something connected with vision. I just happened to see this beautiful collage from the nurse students revision report for 2020 to 30. You see how it is beautifully put there. I mean, you may have all seen this beautiful collage, which speaks about leadership at the center, which has innovation, care, patient-centeredness, integration, equity, and whatnot, mutual trust, safety. And a person who is harboring a beautiful vision that is being inspired by faith is a transformational leader who gets into everything, and that makes the life of a person something beautiful, relaxing, and bringing healing. Let's move on to the next slide. Friends, I was telling about vision. The next important element in a transformational leadership paradigm is that mission. What is the mission? Mission means to move forward, move away, to move, something which makes us to move. That is mission. And what is this mission focus? The mission focus is nothing but I am the duty bearer. I have the responsibility of taking the care of the life of a person. See, my life as a nurse, as a medical professional is between the life and death of a person. What a valuable mission I am harboring. Florence Nightingale would say, I never gave or took any excuse, which means there was no compromise. She was absolutely duty bound. And she always believed in this principle of do no harm principle. I think that's a beautiful reminder for each one of us engaged in the nursing ministry that we need to be very strongly dealing with people because they are human beings. So we need to handle them with so much care. That is the do no harm principle. But today, maybe the complacency, careerism could be the danger. Let's think about that. We have so many examples, so many examples. As a person who managed a huge medical facility for a 1,000-bedded hospital, I have several examples to quote. I'm not getting into that. Let's move on to the next slide. Mission takes us to passion. What is passion? Passion comes from the Latin word patior, passusum, which means to suffer, to bear, to endure, from which also comes the word patience and patient. Friends, passion is nothing but a commitment for a cause, for a person. And I would say that it is nothing but love simplified, and that is altruism, one of the fundamental values of nursing. And I would like to just recollect the beautiful life of Lini, who is the hero nurse of India, who was a Nipah warrior. You may remember her. She sacrificed her life for the cause of saving the life of a family with 3 members when Nipah virus attacked the northern part of Kerala, and she succumbed to her life. What a wonderful image, what a wonderful symbol of altruistic life. This is not an isolated story. We have hundreds of such stories which you have seen in the COVID pandemic times. My dear friends, passion, that is something inevitable in the transformational leadership paradigm. We will move on from passion to, friends, let us move on from passion to compassion. What is compassion? Compassion is nothing but an attitude that motivates people to go out of their way to help the physical, mental, and emotional pains of another. In other words, we have heard and learned about this particular term called empathy, putting ourselves into the shoes of another. That is compassion. A value which moves to, which helps us to move beyond ourselves. And I would say that this is a very strong social capital that we have today. How many millions of nurses we have? And put all this capital together, we can certainly move the society today. We can bring a lot of healing and comfort to the patient community today. And I would say this is something which is bringing us that principle of self-actualization. End of the day, we look for satisfaction, something which we call job satisfaction, work quality life. Unless we are moved and internalized by this compassion, things are going to be just ordinary things for us. Nothing is exciting for us. Nothing is going to be challenging us. And certainly we are going to be just an ordinary person. There is nothing very different that we can make in the society. Friends, from compassion, we will move on to the next slide.
Father Paul, I'm so sorry to interrupt in between, but it would be good if we can conclude the session in the next 2 minutes as we are running short of time.
I'm concluding, please. From compassion, we go to motivation. See, nothing works today without motivation. in the form of appreciations, recognitions, rewards and awards, and attention to small things, my dear people. When I say small things, today I happen to see in the news that our nursing community in one of the hospitals in Delhi is on strike. Why? Whose responsibility is that? Are they motivated? Even in the midst of all these pandemic times, when they give 100%, even 101%. Many stories to tell about this from my own personal experience, to move people, to move the nursing community, motivating them to help them to be the transformative leaders. We will go to the next and the last slide. Friends, this is transformation. Transformation from two dimensions, transformation within you and transformation that you bring for others, to uphold the humanity and dignity of the people. And how do you evidence it? I can bring a lot of evidences in the form of appreciation letters from the patients themselves when they get discharged and go, from the family members of nurses themselves, the way you treat them. And that makes the difference. And Florence Nightingale would say, how very little can be done under the spirit of fear. So fearlessness, courageous steps, that is what going to make you a transformative leader. And today we honored, we celebrate the angel of Crimea, the angels of the pandemic, of olden time, Florence Nightingale and the Florence Nightingales of the contemporary times, the angels of the pandemic. And my dear friends, I salute once again all the nursing community for the fabulous, for the altruistic attitudes of life that they bring in to make our life more beautiful and something different. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Father Paul, for that wonderful presentation.
I request Dr. Tanu to kindly take over. Dr. Tanu.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Father Paul, and
Chancellor in Amity University, Noida. I welcome you, Dr. Tanu. Kindly share the slides of Dr. Tanu.
Thank you so much.
There you go, ma'am. You can start. Thank you.
Yeah. So good evening.
So, well,
everyone.
in between, I will just request the rest speakers to please try to be limit their time to the 10 to 20 minute slot, so that we are already running short of time. We have overshooted the time. So thank you.
Yeah, so good evening, everyone. So previous speakers have, since it's a nursing day, and I was been asked to speak on basically how it has been airborne and how we can do the strategic management of COVID pandemic. So next slide, please. We have I have jotted down certain things about COVID-19, that how it is causing human lives, and there is too much of anxiety, panic situation, and also socioeconomic slowdown. And to this, when it is have become airborne, how environmental factors have been contributing to its spread via surface, hands, air, water, waste, and food possible. There are certain fine particulate matter which obstruct the respiratory airways, and because of the air pollution, and the effects of COVID-19 has exacerbated because of it. Next slide, please. So according to a new assessment published in the medical journal Lancet, there is a strong evidence that virus is predominantly transmitted through air. That's how we are seeing so many cases, in current situation we are going through. And in fact, we have been advised to wear 2 masks. It's a very threatening situation. Earlier it was only through man to man, but now it is like through air, so nobody can escape from it. Next slide, please. So it is spread through air, aerosols, mucosal direct inhalation route, coughing, sneezing, talking, breathing. And aerosol transmission is also in the closed environment, uh, where hospitals are poor ventilated rooms, or when your houses are poorly ventilated. And also environmental pollution through the diseased feces and urine aerosols. And further to it added, as you know, in April, it has been spread through the very conducive temperature and humidity condition and flow of surrounding air. And another wave is been expected in October, when again the temperature and humidity would be very conducive for the spread of COVID virus. Next slide, please. So you've seen this is the rise. There is a steep rise in the COVID cases, and there is another double mutant variant P1.1617 is there arrived. And the situation become worse because the all population, there are 1.38 crore people are there in India, all cannot be vaccinated at the same time. So people with who have been vaccinated and people who are getting then further infection, there are other mutations happening. So we really need to develop a strategy for getting our whole population to be vaccinated as soon as possible. Next slide, please. How we should, for the strategies, how we should respond to the pandemic. The first and foremost is, since there are large number of cases and many people are not able to get beds in hospital, it's a national emergency, it's a disaster. So education to masses for protection and also for treatment methods is very, very necessary. For example, in current times, it has been said that steam and nebulizer must be avoided because in hospitals at least, and the new strategy has been only used through the inhaler, because through steam it spreads further to other patients and also doctors and nurses. So the new strategies of treatment of COVID pandemic is through the inhaler. In fact, it has been observed that students, children, and people who were already using inhaler, they have been treated early, or they have been less affected. So such kind of education to masses for protection and treatment is must. Quick and efficient diagnosis is required through the of the disease, and through rapid antigen testing and other efficient methods must be found out. And be increased with efficient supplies, with strategies for vaccination. As I said, we have to cover 1.38 crore people. So a clear strategy has to come out. How about the production of so many vaccines? How many, how we have to go about sharing the patent for vaccination, and how many stakeholders must be involved with the calculated number of production to achieve in coming months by multiplying the product producers, or the raw material, how we are getting it still imported if it can be done in India. So a clear strategy has to come out to fight the disease, which is so deadly and has been really disturbing for all nations. We all are hearing sad news, but the good news is also that many of the people are getting cured. Many of people are coming out of it. At the same time, a clear strategy is required, how more and more number of people must be informed, and doctors, and with the latest frontline professionals, with the latest treatment method which is getting effective. Next slide, please. And last point is that protection of frontline and accessory frontline professionals is at most important, because they are the corona warriors and their safety comes first. Also, at the same time, we have to be prepared for the future waves of pandemic, which has been predicted, as you said, in October, as I already said. So that is also a very serious challenge which we are facing. So again, for the strategies, we need rapid antigen detection test, antibody rapid test, and molecular based test. Vaccine preparation program. So currently we have Covishield, Covaxin from Bharat Biotech, and also some two vaccines from Oxford. AstraZeneca vaccine has, and from Russian Sputnik V vaccine, Dr. Reddy Laboratories has been sanctioned. But as I said, since we are a huge population, we need clear strategy to have more number of vaccines so that more and more people, in fact, the complete population of India must be vaccinated so that there are no further mutations and no further complications. So the vaccine program currently is the phase 1, where we have taken care of our health workers, frontline workers, and then in phase 2 March, most vulnerable population 60 above and also 45 above with comorbidities. And also now from 1st April 45 year age, and now in phase 3 1st May onwards 18 years of age, though it has been opened, but today I was checking over Arigya Setu that it is still not available in many places. So it's a great challenge for us vaccine to all. And also after vaccination, there are many side effects and how to combat those. Though clear Dolo and other medicines and have been recommended, but it is very necessary to educate masses for even isolation after vaccination. So that is very, very necessary that after vaccination one takes proper precaution, because immunity goes down for some time and it takes time for the antibody generation. So that kind of proper education is required to masses. Next slide, please. So in Indian government, the various stakeholders for COVID strategy and decisions are Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Health Department of States, professional bodies, IMA, ICMR, doctors, health workers, testing laboratories, alternate medicine practitioners, R&D bodies. So many people in alternate medicine practitioners are prescribing a diet, which improves your cellular health and does help in combating COVID virus and also to building immunity. So that also need to be paid, attention must be paid on that for proper food and nutrition. Ministry and Department of Information and Broadcasting, that plays a very important role as in today. To inform masses about the latest information, how one can protect and save themselves. Ministry of Ayush, which is having all different kinds of alternate therapies, integrated therapy system, and many Indians have been developing immunity, and also they are very strong by having our natural products, which save body from free radical, generation, and also increasing the by yoga exercises the capacity of lungs, and there are many other things which alternate therapy system comes and play a real role in building immunity and fighting with the coronavirus. Then another body is Indian Council of Medical Research, National Institute Virology Pune, and Bharat Biotech International Limited, Serum Institute of India. So these are the various stakeholders, and we really need to increase more stakeholders to fight this COVID pandemic. Next slide, please. So the indirect impact of COVID-19, one thing is that, that has, because of lockdown, there is improved air quality, water quality, global warming, thus is reduced. And there is less invasion into wildlife environment, and there you see more and more birds chirping, and butterflies coming. So that is the positive effect, but the negative effect is that there is huge increased solid and liquid waste from domestic, medical, and laboratories. And because of excess use of sanitizers in urban areas, it may show possible harmful effect on health and environment through chemicals. Next slide, please. So there are certain, people are still not believing it is airborne, but I have tried to compile different from different countries the reports, and that say from China there are 4 reports from China, and there is another report from England, one from France, Italy, Spain, and also from USA. That I would like to quickly go, since organizers have asked me to cut short. So I will share. I would like to share my studies further. That the temperature and relative humidity, SO2, SOx, NOx, carbon monoxide, ozone. The case of fertility rate was positively associated with PM 2.5 and PM 10, and they act as a carrier for COVID-19. So it has been clearly shown that the rate increases. For COVID-19 cases increases with the air pollutants and other gases being present in atmosphere. Next slide, please. So these are some of the cases from USA, China, that with the virus remaining viable and infection aerosols for, and this is really threatening condition, because as it is when the Delhi choked with air pollution because of pollution from neighboring states. It is a highly dangerous situation that one cannot filter air. So what to do to prevent? So one need to have air freshness in the home. Maybe you can install certain wet cloth over the windows, over the net, so that you can avoid SARS-CoV virus entering into your houses. Also, as I said, that steam and with the affected patient's steam and nebulizer must be avoided, so that it does not spread to other family members. Inhalers are more effective. So all these precautions must be taken, and the only thing is that we must have the regular supply of medicines with us, inhalers and other things. So it's a very challenging atmosphere, challenging time. We all have to come together to fight this situation with proper knowledge and strategies to combat it. Next slide, please. So as I said, the challenges are these: the chemical waste management, we have to do that also, and monitoring health impact on wildlife species, that is also important, and ensuring healthy mental well-being of all age groups is very much required, because there is so much of trauma because of people who are dying, and also there is scare all around how about the treatment procedures, so that also need to be taken care. Next slide, please. So there are many programs are there for psychological ability to be calm, agile, more flexible, leadership style for better performance. So yoga, dhyan, pranayam, all these things help a lot. Use of transitional and transformational styles such as instruction, consultation, participation and delegation with respective departments, quality of work through cooperation, and positive attitude, which is very much required. Positive attitude and proper knowledge. So I hereby congratulate and kudos to all nurses and frontline workers for successful combating the situation. And I will cut short with these slides. I have shown some of the UN bodies which are involved at international levels in the previous slide. There is WHO office, then UN Office for Coordination and Humanitarian Affairs. They provide life-saving help for relying people. United Nations Department, Economic and Social Affairs, help decision makers navigate the tough choices, prevent the world from sliding into dangerous depression. Then UN SDG, support governments and partners on a decisive and coherent response to COVID-19 pandemic, focuses on national priorities, areas such as health, socio-economic protection to save livelihood and life economies. Then UNEP, they support global efforts to protect biodiversity and safeguard the handling of chemicals and waste. International Trade Center, it provides insight and guidance to small business searching for ways to cope with the operational stress generated by COVID-19. Next slide, please. So these are certain recommendations which I've already spoken, and I would like to compile more things as soon as possible and come back. And I pray to God Almighty for the health, wealth, happiness, peace and prosperity of all frontline workers and nationals of this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Tanu, for making it a crisp presentation and for also elaborating on various aspects. It was indeed a pleasure to hear from you. Moving on, we have Mr. Thank you, ma'am. So we have Professor Vinod Chandra Menon, who is the founder member of National Disaster Management Authority, and he is currently working as an independent consultant DRR. So, sir would be taking us through the role of strategic knowledge and disaster strategic leadership styles in disaster management. I will just present Sir's PPT.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to extend my hearty congratulations to the nursing division in the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, to Dr. Sandhya Gupta, and also to Dr. Rati Balchandran and all the other senior executives of the nursing division and the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And also wish all the nurses attending the program, both on Zoom as well as on YouTube, and all the others who are watching this program, the greetings for the International Nurses Day. This is actually the birth anniversary of Florence Nightingale, as was mentioned, and many of the people, including the health minister, complimented the nurses and said that the nurses are the front line of healthcare and the backbone of the healthcare delivery. And we know that when the COVID crisis is actually raging in the country with so many millions of people affected, and the deaths going to be official records, actually more than 234,000 people, and unofficially probably many more. We actually know that the nursing profession has actually really done an outstanding work in terms of working beyond, the call of duty, and that's where it's not a profession. It is actually not a 10 to 5 job, but it's a 24/7 commitment. And in spite of all the accolades and all the kind of compliments which are being mentioned, I would like to also place before you the other side of the story. Several lakhs of nurses who are actually working beyond the call of duty have actually faced extreme stress, extreme tension, and also going through very traumatic experiences. Losing a single life is actually very traumatic, and then seeing the family members, relatives, and lots of acquaintances and friends losing life is actually also extremely painful. So I would like to say that beyond everything else, the psychosocial support and trauma care and the post-traumatic stress disorder, kind of responses is necessary. Because for more than 13 months, the people have been going through stress, going through tension, and the first case came to Kerala on the 30th of January 2020. So it's almost 16 months now, but people have been responding to it very, very exceptionally in an outstanding manner. Next slide, please. So I would like to basically share some thoughts on the International Nurses Day. I'm sure all of you know Sudarshan Patnaik of Orissa. who is the sand art specialist. And then, he makes these kind of sand art pictures. And this is a tribute to Florence Nightingale on the International Nurses Day. Next. And it was also mentioned that she's known as the lady with the lamp. And then, she did, exceptionally impeccable work, also worrying, not really concerned about her own safety and the safety of the 34 nurses who went to Scutari and who worked in the Crimean War, nursing, attending to the victims of the war, attending to the people who were wounded. And she used to be going, even at odd hours, she would be going and visiting these patients and with the lamp. Next. In honor of all the nurses who have lost their lives, and we really do not know the number, and we know that actually, it is several hundreds, and probably in a four figure, we really don't know the numbers. And if you look at the doctors, if you look at the nurses, if you look at the paramedics, if you look at the hospital staff, we have actually lost a large number of people. And I'm sure that all of you who are actually listening to these presentations, today on the International Nurses Day, would be hearing the wailing of the sirens, outside their houses, they will be listening to these, and that many of them are actually taking people to the hospitals, and many of them are going to crematoriums. And so you will not be hearing, these wailing of the sirens when you are actually having a dead body inside an ambulance, but, you'll be seeing hundreds of ambulances going. So I think, when you look at all these, that the nurses have actually, provided a commendable service. And I think, it is not, the showering of petals from aircrafts is not the solution. Giving 35 awards and then making it to 51 is not the solution. I think the solution is in terms of making sure that, you treat nurses with dignity, with respect. And that is something which can be done only if we as a nation, as a profession, as a community, as a society, respect the profession, the healthcare workers, and treat them with respect and dignity. Next, please. If you look at these faces, not only in India, but all over the world, doctors and nurses have lost lives. I have also been interacting with nurses from the Registered Nurses Association of Ontario in Canada, RNAO, and people like Dr. Doris Greenspan and many others, who have been leading this struggle, trying to ensure that we have support to nursing professionals, also ensure that they are protected, they are provided for, and they also are given adequate time to rest and relax, because you cannot work in multiple shifts without attention. It's not much more than the doctor's care. The nursing care is actually what is saving lives, and I'm sure that all of you know that. Next. So Father Paul mentioned about Lini Puducherry, the nurse who lost her life during the Nipah virus in Kerala. And her death anniversary is actually 28th of May, and today is the 12th of May, the birth anniversary of Florence Nightingale. And Lini lost her life on the 28th of May, 2018, 3 years ago. And this is the last letter which she wrote to her husband, Sujish. And she said, it's in Malayalam, so I'll just read it out. Sujishata, and she says that, I'm almost on the way. I do not think that I will be able to see you. Sorry. She says, please look after our children. And she says that the younger son, I hope that, you will take him to Gulf. And she says that you should not be alone like my father. And she says that, with lots and lots of love. And this is what Lini wrote. Next, please. Now, we know that actually, when you talk about strategic thinking, strategic leadership, and I think strategic leadership is what we are able to show in practice and not by just talking. we have been spreading a lot of disinformation and misinformation. And I think as a government, we need to be responsible. As government officials, we need to be responsible, and we need to speak the truth, and we need to be transparent. And we know that vaccination is actually happening now, and we know that only 9% of the people have been vaccinated. We have the numbers. We say that we have 175 million people have been vaccinated, but it's only 9%. And this 9% is the people who have actually had the first dose. If you look at the people who have had both the doses, it's about 4%. So only 4% of the eligible population have actually got the vaccines. Now we've seen that all over the world, wherever we have actually seen the positive impact of containment of the epidemic, we have seen that is happening only because we have been able to vaccinate the people, and vaccine is actually the kavach, the real kavach, which can protect the people. And that is above, we have said that all the people above the age of 18 and are going to be vaccinated. But we know that the people who actually should be given preference are the people who have already had the first dose, and especially elderly people, who should actually be given the second dose on priority. So Kerala has said that they will give 70% of the vaccines will be kept on priority for those who have had the first dose. And so, so the elderly people could have it. And we also know that there are a lot of people, including children below the age of 18, who are cancer survivors, who are going through chemotherapy and radiation. And there are also people going through CKD, going through kidney dialysis. There are thalassemia children who need the blood transfusion repeatedly. So these are the children below the age of 18 who are also extremely vulnerable. And I hope that the nurses as a profession and the doctors and the Indian Medical Association, the Trained Nurses Association of India and others would also make sure that the people who are actually, extremely high risk, even below the age of 18, should also get a priority for vaccinations. Next, please. In terms of the numbers, we are actually seeing the numbers rising. We say that, we have more than 4 lakh cases, the new cases happening every day now. And we know that these are the cases which are positive. And that there are also people who are primary contacts and secondary contacts of these people, and we are not doing contact tracing anymore. So I know that, nurses are also exposing themselves to risk. I know that doctors are themselves putting themselves to risk. I know that if you say 4 lakh people are getting infected now, and then, they are not able to go to hospitals and they're not able to get hospital beds, that people are running around for hospital beds, for oxygen beds, for ventilators, ICU beds with ventilators. And you also know that oxygen cylinders are being taken out, and people are actually also getting oxygen cylinders at home. Oxygen concentrators are being provided to people at home. So, we are also looking at remdesivir, tocilizumab, and ivermectin, and also erythromycin and doxycycline, and that. It's all these things are known to all of you. But that there is also, an argument that this is not going to help, the steroids are not going to help, and the plasma is not going to help. So we actually really do not know what is the clinical management, what is the best way to approach this clinically. We are looking at different options. We are also seeing that there are people with BiPAPs. There are people, sitting in ICUs, going through, the recovery process, and also trying, plasma therapy. And there are thousands and thousands of people who have been saved with plasma when they're mild and moderate. We know that. In fact, I've been personally also involved, and we have many friends who are attending this program who have also been reaching out and then giving, extending the help by making sure that, people get remdesivir or tocilizumab or ivermectin or, even doxycycline and so on. And also arranging plasma from different laboratories. And we have many people who are sitting here who have been even working to 3 o'clock in the morning, trying to provide plasma for the people. Next, please. And we know that actually this wave which we are talking about, the second wave is tapering. We say that it's plateauing. And then in February and March, we had the health minister saying that, we are also seeing the end game, but it was not true. And we know that it's not true. We know that people are dying. We know that, we do not have space in the crematoriums. We have actually been going through a crisis. And we all need to accept that, this need not be, restricted to television channels. This should not be restricted to social media. And I think, we need to be honest as a nation, as people. Next. Next, please. So we had go back, please. We had the government of Kerala buying vaccines now, spending 483 crores. The Kerala Chief Minister has ordered 1 crore doses of vaccines from the open market. The state governments are buying it. 70 lakhs of doses of Covishield and 30 lakhs of Covaxin is going to be procured in the next 2 months. And, state governments are doing that. And, we need to understand this. It is a responsibility of the government to collect the vaccine, like the routine immunization, and, to provide to the state governments and to also make sure that it reaches the primary health centers. And, we know that nurses have been doing an impeccable job in routine immunization. We have the people who have been doing an outstanding job in the census enumerations. All of you have been participating in these, over the years, and that. But next, please. And in terms of this, we need to have a policy, we need to have a plan, we need to have a strategy, and we need to know who are the people at risk and who needs to be supported. You said the elderly people. In the first wave, it was the elderly people, but in the second wave, we are seeing people below the age of 40. You're seeing young people, risking their lives, losing their lives, fighting for their lives, lying in ICU rooms and ICU wards and trying to fight for their life. You need to identify the risk, and you need to, remedy the risk and, work on mitigation strategies. And we need to have our, disaster risk reduction in our plan and strategies in the plan documents. That 1.5% is the allocation of budget to health. And the facilities in the hospitals. That X-ray machines don't work, or that there are not enough adequate staff, trained staff available in the hospitals, and that all of you have to work extra hours, beyond the call of duty. You all continue to do the work, and then you are scared to go back home and then be close to your loved ones because you do not know whether you're carrying the infection. And we need to also have the short-term, medium-term, and long-term preparedness, response, and recovery capacities. And we have to prepare also for the third wave, because the third wave is supposed to be also, pediatric care, has to be given the emphasis in the third wave. Children have to be protected, and so which means vaccination for the children also becomes important. Next. Go back, please. We need to understand the baseline statistics of hospitals, beds, oxygen beds, ventilators. I saw a tweet from the CEO of the Niti Aayog today saying that, we are making 1,000 ventilators every day. If we are making 1,000 ventilators every day, I think, the people in the health system, health professionals should ask, where are the ventilators? We have been seeing that ICU beds do not have ventilators. And I know there are so many people from Kerala here, and we have the Kerala nurses not only in Kerala, but they're all in many states in the country and even in many countries all over the world. And we know that ventilators are in extremely short supply. We know that there are some districts where we have the number of ventilators are in double digits in the hospitals. And we know that MRI machines and MRI scans and CT scan machines and even portable X-ray machines and kidney dialysis machines are in short supply. We need to do a baseline of all these, and we need to also know how many pathological laboratories are there. How many vaccination centers are there in the country now? You should be asking these questions as nursing professionals, because, we are all responsible for the safety of our people. Saving lives is a priority for all of us. And I think, for those of you from the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, I know that, many of the senior functionaries in the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare have also been infected with COVID. There are many doctors, nurses, and, paramedics, and, even administrators, including the Secretary of, Health in the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare was admitted in the hospital, and the Additional Secretary was also, COVID infected. you know that actually we need to have a plan and a strategy for addressing the critical gaps, also for testing. You know, we are not doing testing anymore. Many state governments are not doing testing anymore as much as what is needed. And there are reports which say that if you have 4 lakh cases today, which are the new cases, the total real number of infected cases would probably be X times more. And X, you can put the number. It could be 5 times, it could be 10 times, and it is estimated that it could even be 20 times more than the number which we are actually seeing as official records of people who are tested positive, because there are others are untested, but you know, it's also spreading, and we have to be extremely careful about that. And we need to have a treatment plan. We need to also track the COVID positive patients and their primary and secondary contacts. And we need to do the contact tracing with route maps. And Kerala managed the first wave only because of that. You know, they did the contact tracing, they did the geofencing, and the people from Kerala, the nurses from Kerala have also had the personal first-hand experience. And the Health Minister of Kerala, Shailaja Teacher, was appreciated all over the world for the way in which Kerala, you know, with the help of the frontline staff and frontline health workers, the nursing staff and doctors and the Panchayati Raj institutions, the Gram Panchayat, the municipal ward, and you know, the representatives of the urban local bodies contributed to that. And next, please. Running short of time, so I'll have to rush through this. There are only 3-4 more slides. Next. Yeah, in terms of looking at Maharashtra and Delhi, you know, these are 2 charts which show Maharashtra and Delhi. And you know what happened in Delhi was primarily because, you know, we are not actually seeing the testing, which is actually being carried out properly. We are seeing that now, you know, Maharashtra is actually coming under control, but, you know, we need to also be extremely careful. We need to also step up the testing numbers. Next. In terms of looking at various districts, you know, we have multiple platforms and multiple dashboards. So this is indianinfoline.com/COVID panel, which is actually looking at 229 high incidence districts in the country. And, you know, it'll be useful if you track some of these things. Next, you know, high incidence districts in the country. We also have covidtoday.in. And some of these people, actually, some of these dashboards talk about, you know, 98.7% recovery rate, and which means only, you know, we have been getting everybody recovered. And what is the recovery? Recovery initially was, you know, if you have 2 negative tests of RT-PCR, then you are recovered. Then it was actually also reduced to 1 negative test, you are recovered. And then it was also reduced, saying if you're feeling better, you are recovered, you can go. You know, after 10 days, you can be discharged, you can be recovered. You know that 95% of the people are actually, you know, recovering at home. They're isolating at home, they're quarantined at home, they actually recover. But, you know, we also need to know that many of these people are actually suffering from oxygen saturation problems. You know, oxygen saturation sometimes goes down to 85%, sometimes 80%. I've seen cases with 60%. And then, you know, then they're rushed and they look for oxygen beds, they look for ICU beds with ventilators, and then they try to revive them. Then they say that, you know, you try for a BiPAP, and then, you know, you try all kinds of solutions. But then by that, it's already too late. Next. Yeah, we also have been receiving oxygen from many countries. You know, we have been receiving that from France, we've been receiving that from Germany, from UK, from US, oxygen concentrators, oxygen cylinders. Cryogenic tankers are bringing them, and then, you know, we have also seeing this. And today we just saw the message that two tankers have come, you know, to Mumbai, you know, sent by the French government from Air Liquide and from Qatar Shell. And you can see that, you know, there are many such things, many such cryogenic tankers coming to India. Next. Yeah, so again, Qatar, 2 ships coming in to various ports in the country. They're bringing it in. Next. So in terms of strategic thinking, I think one of the most important things is to really understand, you know, strategic thinking is essentially thinking with your heart. And I'm sure that all the nurses, all the people in the nursing profession, many of you have, you know, also become doctors. Many of you have degrees in you know, different social science and humanities, arts and humanities. And I think that one of the most important things for you to understand is that, you know, you have to think with your heart, And, it was also mentioned that, you need to have the emotional intelligence. It's also, emotional intelligence is also intelligent emotions. You need to also think with your heart. Next. So there is this story about a person who was actually drowning, and then there was a passerby who was passing, and then the person who was drowning kept on saying, "Please save me, save me." And so this gentleman who was actually near the banks of the river, he jumped in and then saved that person, because that person did not know how to swim. And so when he was saved, he said, "Thank you very much for saving my life." And when he was told thank you, the gentleman said, "Don't thank me, prove with your life that your life was worth saving." I think we need to remember this story. We have to prove with our life that these lives are worth saving. Many of the people who you are all trying to help are people who have actually, abandoned all the advisories. They have ignored all the advisories. They attended, festivals. They attended political rallies without masks, without physical distancing. They attended, various social evenings and large weddings and so on. And, we need to know that, we have to be disciplined as a community, as a society, as a nation. And, we need to also make sure. There is a very beautiful poem written by a Brazilian poet called Mario de Andrade. And the title of the poem is "My Soul Has a Hat." I would like you to request you to Google this and read this, "My Soul Has a Hat" by Mario de Andrade. And in this poem, she says, it's concluded by this: "We have two lives, and the second begins when you realize you only have one." I will repeat this, that these are the last two lines. We have two lives, and the second begins when you realize you only have one. We only have, we only have that one life, which we have to actually live now by helping others, by reaching out. And we know that because, we are seeing this, the value of life. We're seeing how fragile human life is. So next, these also critical thinking is needed, creative thinking is needed, systems thinking is needed. And, we need to also make sure that, we think as not only as individuals, we should also have the courage of conviction to say no when, you have to say no. You have to basically, as professionals, please have the courage of conviction to say no. And I'm sure that, we have senior administrators listening in, and this is also a recorded conversation, which we are having, a recorded event. It's also in YouTube. I'm sure that, you will also be able to say that, as a nation, let us have the courage to say that, if we are actually seeing something wrong, please have the courage to say no. Next. At the end of the first wave, India was testing 63 tests for every single case which we had, and our test positivity rate was 1.6%. Please listen to this very carefully. In the first wave, at the end of the first wave, we were testing 63 tests per case, and our test positivity rate was 1.6%. Now we are doing 4.5 tests per case. Compared to 63 tests per case at the end of the first wave, we are now doing 4.5 tests per case, and our test positivity rate is 22.3%. And what is 22.3% test positivity rate means? You know that, you know the implications of that. So even during the peak of the first wave, we were doing 11.4 tests per case. And there are so many people who are actually writing about this. You can see that on social media, and you need to understand the seriousness of this. Please test, treat, track, trace, and vaccinate. Next. That's my last slide. We need to be strategic, and then we need to make sure that we do the testing, we do the tracking, we also do the treating, and we do the tracing, and we also step up the vaccination. That is very much needed. Next. One never notices what has been done. One can only see what remains to be done. And this is said by Marie Curie. And Winston Churchill said, "We shall never fail nor falter. We shall not weaken or tire. Give us the tools and we will finish the job." And this is exactly what is needed now. Let the doctors, let the nurses, let all the professionals, the paramedics, intensivists, pulmonologists, physicians and all the people who are working in the health sector, should have the facilities, should have the tools, should know what is the best way of doing the clinical management. And I know that all of you as professionals know what needs to be done. Respect the frontline healthcare workers. That's a message to the administrators. This is a message to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, to ICMR, to the Indian Medical Association, and to all the people in the fraternity. And test frontline healthcare workers and treat them with dignity. Test, treat, track, trace, and vaccinate. And last slide. That's the last slide. Can you just move to the last slide, please? Can you move to the last slide, please? Okay, that was the last slide. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I think, we all need to be, as professionals, we owe it to ourselves to be brutally frank, because that is the only way, and that is a legacy which we leave behind for our children, because we are seeing what we need to leave for our children is, the boldness to, to basically to speak the truth. When we are seeing that, we are seeing a lot of young people running around trying to help in terms of, moving back oxygen cylinders, trying to mobilize ventilators, trying to mobilize beds, trying to get, all kinds of medicines, trying to help people. I want to thank each one of you, the people in the nursing profession, and celebrate the Nurses Day, International Nurses Day, but also recognize that, we need to stand up for them, and we need to stand with each other and, support each other, because if there is a crisis, nobody will turn around and, support, people. I've seen nurses running around for hospital beds for themselves and for their family members. Even in their own hospitals, nurses have not got beds. We know that that's the truth. I want to thank all of you, and let us celebrate this, but also know that, this is a very noble profession. You're saving lives, you're doing a lot, and, you are all role models, but, let us also, celebrate that and be honest to ourselves, and then, support each other and support these people, because, it's not awards that they need respect. They need to be treated with dignity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Vinod, for this wonderful elaboration on the key highlights of the day. It was indeed a pleasure to have you. We, as you can see, we have already overshooted the time. We would be now moving on to the last part for the day. It is the telecommunication case study of AIIMS nurses in teleconsultation for COVID management, which would be presented by Dr. Sandhya Gupta, former acting principal and associate professor, College of Nursing, AIIMS. Over to you, Dr. Sandhya.
I'm not able to unmute. Can you help me?
We can hear you, Dr. Sandhya.
No,
Now I think I can. What about the sharing rights? Please give me sharing rights.
Okay, one second. You joined from some other device, no? So that's why I have given you the rights. You can do it now.
Also, my video I cannot. Now I can. Now I can. Now I can. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Make sure to connect to the audio as well while sharing. Is
it clear?
The video file has not been opened yet.
Right.
We are still seeing a folder.
Hello?
Ma'am, we are seeing your folder, but not the video.
No, it's happening. No, I think. I don't know what happened actually. They didn't send the link.
Somebody's mic is on. Somebody's mic is on.
It's done.
Can you see my full screen?
Not full screen. Now it's fine. Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
So that was a very interesting story that sudden lockdown happened last year on 22nd March 2020, and nobody could reach the hospital. And that is when there was a plan to start a telecommunication system. And I'm very fortunate that we participated in opening this center, and MSc nursing students and BSc nursing students participated in running the center. It is called COVID-19 National Teleconsultation Center. It is again operational in the second phase, and this is the call number. And you see, this is the room where this is one of my MSc student. So we put up the audio video recording as well, and sometimes video calling with the doctor. And this is one of my student who is taking a consultation. Oh, somebody is speaking. Somebody's mic is on. Okay, so you can see that the consultation that we have had at that time.
Ma'am, we are not able to hear anything. I think the audio was not enabled while sharing the screen. And please end this, and can you please try again? And while sharing the screen, in the bottom bar, you will be getting an option to enable audio. You need to click that first before sharing.
Is it visible now?
It is visible, ma'am, but we were not able to hear that recording. You can carry on, Dr. Sandhya. Let's not wait for long.
No, is the audio working?
No, it's not.
Okay. So just I would like to say this only, that we had 5 options for the public to call, for the doctor to call, for the patient to call. So we had a lot of options, and the students had participated at first triage level, that they will ask the person what is the problem, and then they'll divert the call either to an intern or to a senior resident or a junior resident or the senior faculty according to the case. And this is what we did, and it was very successful. And you can see that we have had this type of reports given by students every day. So you can see this is daily report of the students that we got at that time when we are doing consultation. So I think because I'm not able to get the video in and the audio in, unfortunately, I recorded some of the practice sessions we did with the students, so that you can see how we train them. These are some of the role plays that we have used for training the students. So thank you very much. I wanted to share that it was a sudden plan and it was very successful. And till today, many thousands of people have been helped through this method. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sandhya. And it was really wonderful to get to know that this kind of initiatives are being taken up. So thank you for that. So for concluding the session, I would like to invite Dr. Rathi Balachandran, who is the ADG Nursing from the Nursing Division MOH of WGOI. Dr. Rathi, would request you to please take it over. Rathi, 1 second, I'll have to make her the co-host. Rathi, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yeah, I am able to. Thank you, Siljo. So at the end,
Dr. Sandhya would request you to stop the screen share. Yes, you can continue, Dr. Rathi.
so on behalf of the Nursing Division Directorate of Health Services, it's my honor and privilege to thank today's expert speakers for sparing your valuable time and the words of wisdom to us. Dr. Anthony Nyanamuthu for giving us updates about the need for strategic knowledge in emergency and disaster management. Dr. P. Anthony Ras for explaining us about the strategic leadership styles, how it is important to be motivated and compassionate, and Father Paul Fergus with regard to the transformational and transactional leadership, empathetic, emotional intelligence, and the Professor Tanu with about the strategic leadership styles, how important it is, its transmission of disease through the airborne, and Professor Vinod Chandra Menon with regard to the role of strategic knowledge and leadership styles in disaster management. Yes, as nurses, we have to do that. We have also seen that how the telecommunication has been conducted by AIIMS College of Nursing under the leadership of Dr. Sandhya Gupta. That the nurses have a lot to do during this pandemic, and as we have seen that nursing is more of prevention and promotion, and we have the responsibility of empowering the public with regard to the preventive measures and how to protect themselves before getting this disease, and also to protect themselves from the disease, and if at all it occurs, to prevent it progress. And as we are short of resources, we have to make each individual empowered for helping them. As nurses, we can help the individuals empower in taking care of health. Through teleconsultation and various counseling sessions, nurses can improve the knowledge and practice of general public awareness about the importance of COVID appropriate behavior as well as vaccination. So thank you very much for all the speakers. I also thank Dr. Sandhya for making all these arrangements, and the Sphere India COVID-19 Academy, and my dear participants. It was really an honor to have you all for this webinar. And once again, I salute all the nurses for your exemplary performances during this COVID pandemic, and wish you a happy International Nurses Day. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Rathi and Dr. Sandhya, for this wonderful session which you have come with. Thank you for collaborating with Sphere India, and we are indeed, it was a pleasure to have you on board for conducting this session. You have indeed brought a lot of esteemed panelists for the session, and we got wonderful insights from each one of them. Thank you so much. And to all the panelists, all the participants as well, for staying with us for such a long time. I guess it's almost 2.45 hours, 3 hours. So it was, we are really thankful to you for staying with us for so long. Hoping to see you all for our next session as well. With this, we would like to conclude the session. Thank you so much.
I would like to request people can revisit in YouTube this whole session.
Yeah, you can go to Sphere India COVID-19 Academy's YouTube link, YouTube account, and you can rewatch it and share it with your colleagues. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Stay safe.
Thank you, Saljo.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rati.
Thank you.